What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Pro Dota 2 commentary. And this is going to be a game from the Netolic Pro League Season 4, a match between Fnatic and DD, formerly known as Quantic, formerly known as Flipside Gaming, and I guess they're under DD for now until they find a new sponsor tag, because I'm sure they probably violated some agreements with their old sponsors if they had to make all these changes. But anyways, this is Fnatic versus DD. And just a couple things, and again, as usual these days, after I make a video where, I haven't done anything for a week and a half, I want to go over a bit of an explanation, but this time it's a bit more selfish than usual. So if you want to skip ahead 2 minutes and avoid this explanation, then you can feel free to do just that. But anyways, I haven't really been doing much in the past 2 weeks, and a lot of that has to do with trying to get a new routine, because again, Dota is not really my #1 priority. I get paid like $50 a month for YouTube ads, and keep in mind like 80% of the ads are ad blocked anyway, so I get paid barely anything. And I'm not complaining, that's how it works. So obviously, since I get paid so little, and I'm not going to keep Dota on the front focus as long as it's such a time-consuming game, then I'm going to try to do other things with that time. So, as most of you know, I had double shoulder surgery this summer. So I put on a bit of weight because I was confined to the house, and I want to try to sort of lose that weight. So I've been trying to get into a gym routine, all that jazz, and also trying to find other things with my time. And since Dota 2 and Dota are very time consuming in general, they didn't really fit into the routine until I could fully establish it. But now that I've established it, I'll try to do one video a day again, and this time I think I can probably stick with it now that I've found a tournament that can sort of meet those requirements. Another thing for great games in Dota history, again, since those are ridiculously time-consuming, I think the average great game in Dota history takes maybe 12 hours to do, or I know that's how long the second one did. I should be able to start up again this week and try to finish the third one, and then I'll see what I can go from there. I had a bit of a collaboration with Luminous, but again, he sort of flaked, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. No promises per usual. But yeah, I'll try to get back to work on those. But again, they're ridiculously time consuming, so you're gonna have to forgive me if I'm not gonna always be 100% punctual on this, because again, it's really not worth my while. I do it because I like to do it. Anyways, this is a matchup from the Netolic Pro League Season 4, and I actually messaged the admins asking if I could cast this, but they never got back to me, so I'm just gonna do a replay cast from this. It costs $10, but whatever. Anyways, this is a pretty interesting tournament as a 4-team playoff system. First prize is 6,000, second prize is 3,000, third prize is 1,000, so pretty standard. But in 5 weeks of regular season games, the sort of leader in terms of wins in the regular season, or at the end of each week, gets an additional $1,000. So I think that's a pretty cool idea to sort of incentivize, not giving up once the 4 teams have been decided, so that the last week isn't completely useless. So, it's pretty cool, $15,000 in all if you consider everything for 5 weeks or 6 weeks. Not the biggest deal, but it's not that bad, and it's only 8 teams invited, so every team gets an equal shot. It's not like it's a 30-team tournament where it lasts for 8 years and every team is committed to these sort of ridiculously length tournaments. So I'm going to try to cast as many games as possible from this tournament. Might do some live casts on this if the admins let me. If not, then I'll probably just do some live casts anyway, because I talked to Toby and he said as long as you have the ticket, you can do your own live casts of it, unless the admins expressly forbid you from doing your live casts of those. So I might do some live casts of those. These are the games, I'm not too sure. Anyways, this is going to be DD versus Fnatic. DD, again, formerly known as Quantic, aka Flipside. They qualified for the Star Ladder Land Finals, but Fada broke his pinky finger, if I'm not mistaken. And since he's had hand injuries in the past, then he can't really sort of do whatever he wants with them anymore. But that's interesting because Fada's actually in this game. I think he's playing under the tag Hugo, so maybe he's just not used to traveling with the hand and instead can just use a couple fingers as long as it's not at home. But if that's the case, then whatever. Meanwhile, Fnatic, they've been struggling a bit, but Fnatic always strikes me as a team that sort of takes a while and sort of eventually adapts to the new meta. So I'm not worried about Fnatic. They're a very stable team. They definitely know each other very well, and I'm sure they will come around very soon. Again, they're invited to the MLG Columbus event in late November, if I'm not mistaken. So we should see how they can adapt to the LAN tournament, especially since they haven't had too many recent strong performances since TI3.
Fnatic
Still, it should be exciting nonetheless. Anyways, it seems like standard picks and bans, we've seen a lot more Shadow Fiend presence these days since mid laners are more static like Dragon Knight and Razor, who don't really punish you for greedy mids like Shadow Fiend. As opposed to mid laners like Puck or Queen of Pain, who can sort of definitely punish Shadow Fiend lane. Dragon Knight can't really do that as much. So Shadow Fiend's been receiving a lot more attention than Banhammer. Razor being banned makes a bunch of sense because there's an OD in the pool. Fnatic first picked up the Barretter because, again, Barretter is probably the most powerful hero in the game. 100% picker ban rate, best initiator in the game, one of the best laners. Chen, really strong. So DD, it seems like they're falling back to a bit of their more go-back drafts. But I'm a bit worried because outside of Gyrocopter, they really don't have any damage in the early game because OD, he doesn't really want to join team fights. He wants to sit in his lane, sit on his ass, and Treant Armor will help him do that. But meanwhile, Fnatic, they don't have much damage either, but they have Chen and Batrider, and they also have Pugna, a really interesting choice who I'm hoping we'll see a lot more play soon. I do think he needs a couple of buffs, but he seems perfectly viable. And against the spam-heavy lineup that DD currently has, against the high mana cost spells of Bane and OD, I think Pugna can do okay. Although keep in mind, since Arcane Orb is an auto-casting ability, I'm pretty sure though Netolic does not affect it. Now I could be mistaken or whatever. But DD gonna last pick up the winner, so right now it's pretty standard defensive try on Gyrocopter, Bane, Treant, OD mid lane, Windrunner off lane. Not seeing too much Windrunner as of late, as Fnatic's gonna last pick up a Shadow Shaman. Interesting choice, and it's gonna be Fly playing the Shadow Shaman. So right now Fnatic knows that DD are gonna sit on their ass. They don't have ganking supports whatsoever. They're not gonna pressure mid lane whatsoever. So they're just gonna take this time to farm up. Chen will probably get a pretty fast level 5 or 6 depending on how early he wants to push down the off lane tower. And Rust will get a lot of solo pull experience. So right now I'm liking Fnatic's draft a bit more in terms of the laning phase, but if you let DD's lineup last a little bit too long, then Gyrocopter and OD can definitely tear through the squishy heroes like Rasta as well as Pugna. Now, I'm not entirely sure the mechanics of Ghost Scepter or Decrepify with the Arcane Orb. I know you can cast while you're under the effects of it. I'm not too sure if you can hit targets who are under the effects of Decrepify or the Ghost Scepter. So maybe Pugna is sort of a pseudo counter to OD. Again, OD spells do cost quite a bit of mana, and DD have a pretty spam-based lineup, so that in other words could do quite a bit of work. Excuse me, I have to learn how to actually cast games again for the billionth time. But anyway, introducing the players and teams on the side of Fnatic, we're going to have Fly playing the Shadow Shaman, No-Tail playing the Chen, Eris playing the farming Pugna, Trixie's played Batrider, and Hani's playing Lone Druid. So it's going to be an OD versus Lone Druid mid lane matchup, and that seems to make the most sense. Again, there is an option for Pugna to go into the middle lane, but OD probably takes a dump on Pugna because not only does OD just drain all Pugna's damage, he drains his ridiculously spell Nether Blast and all of his mana. And Pugna, the only way he can win his mid lane is if he can spam his abilities and relies on immense base damage, because keep in mind Pugna's intelligence growth is 4.0, and once you pick up a Null Talisman, you will pretty much have all the damage you need for the most part.
Double damage.
Meanwhile, on the side of DD, we're going to have fucking Mad playing the Bane Elemental. Gyrocopter is being played by Sakshka, if I'm not mistaken. Mania is playing the Treant Protector. Arise, the Stannin, is playing the Windrunner. Arise, again, is on super strong Dinosaurs, if I'm not mistaken, which is Snaking and Sexy Bambo's new team. And Hugo, which is Fada, is playing the OD, so maybe OD is a hero who doesn't really require too much dexterity, and I can't really blame that fact at all. So we're going to have Trixie in the off lane. Going to be handling against a dual lane, as DD are actually running a dual lane themselves on the bottom lane. Again, Bane is the support who does have decent move speed, has pretty decent armor, and because DD want to get Treant as many levels as possible, there's really no other place for Bane to be, because if Bane was in the top lane, then Treant wouldn't be able to get that level 3 or level 4 leveling armor up at a sufficient time. And Treant is a very experience dependent hero until he hits level 7. So he really wants to get that level 7 up ASAP, but that means that Trixie won't really be able to be stopped in the offlane position, and he can actually stay in the offlane rather than rotate into the jungle. Meanwhile, the mid lane, OD versus the Lone Druid, it seems to be slightly in OD's favor, but I guess we're going to have to see. It might depend on Fada's dexterity again, as OD will get an immense amount of base damage, but Lone Druid does pretty much have 2 heroes to go against the OD in mid lane. But Lone Druid as a hero is just expected to survive and get whatever small bits of experience he can possibly get. And right now, Hani seems to be doing that just fine, but it's going to get harder as the Treant Living Armor is leveled up and as OD hits level 5. And at that point, then the Lone Druid really can't contest in terms of the last hit or deny damage, even with the double hero. Because of this Bane Elemental, Xiaoshan seems to he's having a bit of difficult time as he was not able to spot out this ward, which does block the pull camp. A really nice ward being placed by DD, and this means that Bane Elemental as well as Winter can actually get experience. And meanwhile, Era, he wants to be farming up, and we're going to have to see what item Pugna decides to rush. In the old days when Pugna was permanently picked, when I say old days, I mean like 2010, we usually saw fast mecha rush on the Pugna, but we're going to have to see what he decides to go for in this game because there is a Chen on his team. He might choose to go for a bit more of an aggressive item as fucking Mad should be a bit careful. Fly scaled he scaled to Jackal level 1, and they will be able to get the chain stuns down. Fucking Mad is going to pay for his insolence with his life. Era taking a lot of damage, but Hex is going to be able to break the Windrun effect. Our eyes will be able to escape just barely, and he will not get his salve cancelled. Very fortunate. And if his salve got cancelled, then this would be a free lane for Pugna. As it is, Pugna is going to have to be very careful. Shackle going to be dropped once again on Arise, as Arise is taking a lot of damage. He's already used Windrun. Arise is definitely going to die. Chen is going to pay for it with his life. Era doing whatever he can is going to drop a Nether Blast as fucking Mad won't be able to get the... Was he trying to self-nightmare himself? Maybe, I don't know, but he was dead either way. I'm not too sure what the usage of that nightmare was. I think it would have been more useful for him to nightmare himself. But in the end, it's going to go slightly in Fnatic's advantage, as keep in mind DD aren't really expected to do much on this bottom lane. Windrunner and Bane are essentially thrown to the wolves, and as it is, they did at least get a kill on the farming Pugna. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Hani seems to be holding his own. He's not really focusing nearly as much on denies compared to the OD, and maybe this is because Fada's hand is broken for the billionth time, or maybe it's just because Lone Druid in the very early levels does do pretty well against OD. But once OD hits that level 5, then this matchup should take a turn for the worse because OD will get a lot of extra damage from the steal. And, well, the Lone Druid Bear has picked up an Orb Venom, and that's going to go a long way in terms of eating the Treant Armor protection. As me on the bottom lane, there's going to be another engagement. Winner taking a lot of damage for... Once again, as Living Armor will be applied, the Power Shot will pick up the kill as Arrow does pick up the last hit on the Windrunner. Fucking Mad gonna get Decrepit as well as Blasted, but Era gonna have to be careful, doesn't nearly have enough mana to use Decrepit as well as Blast once again. Gonna salve up as fucking Mad will use his Clarity to get himself to enough mana where he can actually Nightmare Brain Sap, as the Clarity will be cancelled. Pugna does have 320 base move speed, and Era does have boots of speed. So right now, I think this is going slightly in Fnatic's favor. I'm not sure if Lone Druid is supposed to beat the OD, but right now he is beating the OD. Although it seems like Fada is playing a lot more aggressively. I think the Lone Druid has run out of summons, although he will pick up a summon relatively soon, but he can't resummon, and that means he's going to go all the way back to the Fountain. Arise has actually a Ben in the bottom lane, recognizing that the bottom lane is just too hard. Once Chen picks up enough levels, and once Xiaoshan picks up another skill, and actually has points into the Ether Shock rather than just a single point to Shackle. So the mid lane is going well for DD at this point, but overall in the grand scheme of things, you gotta say Fnatic has the advantage, as again, DD doesn't really have a lamp that does much damage in the early stages of the game, and Baron is pretty much able to do whatever he wants. Sure, he won't pick up nearly as fast as Blink Dagger if he just did the normal stack, but at this point he can actually harass the Gyrocopter and really annoy the Gyrocopter no end. As Hani's taking a lot of edge, did shoot the Power Shot, but Hani will end up dying as Bane does pick up the last hit. A nice gank to secure DD's advantage in the lane, but I think it's time for DD to just allow OD's natural advantage to take care of the middle lane and try to focus their attentions on the top lane, because if Barret picks up a fast dagger, if Pugna picks up a pretty aggressive item, maybe even a Dagon, because pros often switch back to the pub builds when they feel it's most effective, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see if Era actually did pick up a Dagon, as call down will be used by the gyrocopter to finish out this creep play. Shackle gonna be dropped. Living armor once again, preserving life of fucking Madness. Fly will be the first one to fall. Fiend's Grip gonna be dropped on Era, as Bane, because he was in a dual lane compared to the tri lane of Fnatic, was level 6, and that is gonna be a significant victory for DD. Living armor, showing why it's probably the best spell in the early game, and it was only a level 2 living armor, so it's only gonna get better and better. And I was saying, DD don't really have much damage, but that was until the gyrocopter rotated in. And now that gyrocopter's done his job, it seems like he's going to try to rotate in for a gank on the middle lane. Windrunner's here. The first to entangle, as Hani will be able to get into true form, and that is going to allow him to preserve his life for a lot longer. Hani going to pop the bear war cry, and that'll give his bear a lot of additional damage. Fada going to have to be very careful. Will be able to escape, as a 4-man gank gonna be escaped, and that is a lot of resources just to try to shut down the OD. And I don't know if the Lone Druid should be the hero that should be try to shut down. I think it should be the Barretter, because at this rate Barretter will be able to pick up a 10-minute dagger, which even the mid lane is, I know in the jungle he's gonna pick up like a 8 or 9 minute dagger, but in the mid lane or off lane he should pick up maybe an 11 or 12 minute dagger, but a 10-minute dagger is just going to be really, really fast. And keep in mind, all the while he is shutting down some of the safe lane's presence, and the safe lane is not having an easy go of it, even though the gyrocopter does have 44 last hits. So Trixie gonna get his dagger relatively soon. Era and the Shadow Shaman gonna be very careful, as the imprisonment gonna be popped. Here comes the ultimate. It's gonna be dropped on Hani's face, but looks like Hani was not tanky enough to survive the harassment. And once again, DD using their large AoE ultimates will be able to secure the kill. DD will now focus their attention on the middle tower. I don't know if they actually have enough damage, and now they certainly don't, now that Chen creeps are here to disrupt the creep equilibrium. And that means Fnatic will be able to get the defense going. And keep in mind, Pugna's Nether Blast does do damage to buildings, and this Pugna was able to kill off the bottom tier 1 tower pretty effortlessly. And Shen, level 5, going to be working towards his mecha. Once this mecha comes online, Fnatic's push presence will be very difficult to stop, because the Bear will be level 7, which gives him access to Demolish. The Barretter will probably have his dagger, which gives him a safe initiation. Shadow Shaman will probably have the wards, and Pugna will have the blast, and that is just going to mean these buildings are in for a world of hurt. Keep in mind, I'm not even talking about the Chen, as both the mecha combined with Hand of God, as well as the creeps, going to mean that these towers will just die in a matter of instants. Meanwhile, Chen gonna snag a creep just to amplify the push a little bit more. Fly, Naya level 6 says, here comes the assault. Notail gonna find himself feed script as here comes Barrett. Will grab the OD as Notail will die. They pick off the OD in response. Fucking Mad will get killed by the Pugna as the Nether Ward just doing heaps and heaps of damage. And the Barrett with the Firefly just amplifying that damage to a tremendous degree. Mania trying to do whatever he can, just getting napalmed, slowed into oblivion. OD actually will buy back, as Fada trying to do whatever he can to get his team back into the game. Will he be able to kill off Trixie? I don't think he will, as Trixie, one more orb hit, no, 2 more orb hits would have spelled his death. But a great victory for the forces of Fnatic, as all they lost were... Did they lose anybody? I'm not sure. They lost the Chen, but no, they didn't lose the Chen. They lost Fly, and that's it. But Fly is now level 6, has the Mash Serpent Wards. No, did they even lose Fly? I'm not even sure. I should probably check the combat log. Well, I don't know how to cast anymore, guys. But the endurance of Fnatic combined with their tower sieging abilities just means they can just stand in front of DD's buildings, and there's not too much DD can do about it, because once call down as well as a power shot or Saints Clips has been executed, there's really not too much damage that DD can do outside of the gyrocopter rocket barrage. And keep in mind, Fnatic are fighting that entire fight without a Hand of God, because Chen just managed to level 6, and Chen is going to be working towards his mecha. Meanwhile, Trixie, only 250 gold away from picking up that Blink Dagger. This is just going to get scarier and scarier by the instant for DD. And DD right now, all they are trying to do is survive, but Gyrocopter's farm is nowhere near sufficient enough to do anything in the mid game at this rate, as the bear with another blast will just go to work. And these towers, even though there is tree and armor, they want to save the tree and armor for the heroes in team fights, and that means it won't be able to be used on these towers. Keep in mind, 20-second cooldown is pretty short, but does not mean infinite duration. As another word, now level 4, just going to do a huge chunk of damage to the side of DD. Mania now level 6 has at least the overgrowth, so that means the cooldown and Saints clips as well as the power shot can actually hit their targets if the overgrowth is used, so that's going to be a bit more useful for the side of DD. Barrett, on the other hand, going to get pretty close to his dagger. If you check on the gold stats, Fnatic only have a slight gold lead because they're clumping up a bit more, but that gold lead is due to the fact that they have a tower on their hands. And, well, the experience advantage is also slight in Fnatic's favor because, well, they have a Chen in the jungle, and meanwhile DD don't have any jungle heroes themselves. Seems like DD trying to do whatever they can to slow down Trixie's dagger, but I think at this point it's just a bit too late, as even if Trixie just waits for a little bit, he will be able to pick up the dagger. As Fiend Script going to be used, this could be disastrous for Fnatic as cooldown, as well as the Rocket Barrage will pick up the kill. Barry just got a little bit too greedy, and this Observer Ward punished his aggressiveness, as a really nicely done gank was applied by DD to Fnatic. That's going to slow down the dagger. But without the cooldown, will that prompt a Fnatic push? I'm not too sure, as Xiaoshan does now have the Mass Serpent Wards on his hands. And we're going to have to see, I think this will be the death of the tier 1 mid. The wards will be dropped, and the bear, as well as the wards, will just bring down this tower in a matter of moments. And since cooldown is no longer an option, I don't think DD should try to defend, but it looks like they are going to teleport the train in. He doesn't have access into the Nature's Guise, as he will pop the Leech Seed high, taking a lot of damage, but again, not nearly enough to bring down the tanking Lone Druid. May have find himself hexed up. Look at the burst damage by Fnatic, as they killed off their train in a matter of moments. And right now, Fnatic just looking pretty strong. Gyrocopter trying to do whatever he can to get his farm going. Gonna go for a fast BKB. And normally I'm a huge fan of this, but I think in... No, never mind. Fast BKB is the best option against Shadow Shaman, as well as a Pugna. I was gonna say maybe Shadow Blade to try to split push, to try to ease Fnatic's grip on this map, but I don't think Fnatic will be too worried about a split pushing Gyrocopter who doesn't clear creeps nearly as quickly as he used to, now that Flat Cannon has been nerfed to a slight degree. Still, DD are holding on, but Fnatic, now with the dagger, just going to group up and push in. And, well, Chen will have his mecha up relatively soon. Level 4 Netherward means this is going to hurt quite a bit. And Barrier will now pick up the dagger. Meanwhile, the Lone Druid seems like he's going to go for a Maelstrom build just to help clear the creeps even quicker. And there's simply nothing that DD can do about this. They're going to drop the cooldown, but it's going to be essentially wasted on just the creeps. And there goes a huge bulk of damage. And now Gyrocopter doesn't have that much damage, much mana, as Overgrowth will use to hold Trixie in place. But fucking man, gonna be pushed away by that flame break. He will die. Here comes the engagement upon Gyrocopter. Hand of God will finally be used. Gyrocopter just being slowed relentlessly. Gyrocopter will most certainly fall. OD now gonna be in a lot of trouble. Will find himself decrepit up. Will be able to dodge another blast, but it's only delaying the inevitable, as Fada will die. And Fnatic didn't lose anybody in that engagement. All they used was a couple of ultimates, and that means they'll be more than strong enough to push down the tier 2 tower on the top lane.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I'm not sure why DD thought they had to drop the cooldown. I think it would have been safer for Trian to try to at least get a bit of an overgrowth initiation, but again, since Trian is only level 7 and no points in Nature's Guise, he wouldn't be able to get that safe overgrowth initiation, as Fnatic, sensing victory, just going to push into the base. And with the Mass Serpent Wards as well as the Bear, you really can't dissuade them, as the Bear is taking a lot of damage. Cooldown will be used once again. This time it's going to be a bit more effective, as they will clear out a number of creeps. The Bear will die to the OD, and this push should be stopped for the most part, although the wards are still alive. They're still chipping like Barrett, gonna blink in, trying to get a lasso off. No, the lasso is still on cooldown, as Gyrocopter gonna find himself Nether Blast, fucking mad, finding himself entangled, will perish, as meanwhile the Bear is just getting entangles left and right, and all the while the wards as well as the Chen creeps will clear out the entire Mania. could not bear the brunt of Fnatic's focused fire, as DD gonna lose their top barracks in the first 16 minutes. Baron will finally get his lasso back online, and there's simply nothing Windrunner can do about this. Windrunner just gonna die, as DD, their lack of any early game presence, really coming back to bite him in the ass in this game, as Fnatic with just a group up and slaughter mentality at the 15-minute marks will claim the first barracks, as they're going to smoke up buybacks aplenty, as Netolic will finish off the top barracks. Smoke trying to help Fnatic escape, as Arrow will be sent back home. We'll see if DD can get any sort of rebuttal. Fly juking as best he possibly can. The ward will be dropped. Will catch Fly's juke. The question is, will they be able to get anybody else? And N0tail will find himself holy missiled up. And I think this will be a dead N0tail. The creep's going to be used as best they possibly can. Here comes the mecha. And all the while, look at Honey's micro trying to block DD at any opportunity, but I think this will spell the end of N0tail. The rocket barrage, or the cooldown, as well as the brain sap, will be used to clean up the Bane, but at what cost? DD, 16 minutes of the game, lost their top barracks, and Fnatic, well, they're going to have their Hand of God back online, they're going to have more items in their pocket, and meanwhile Pugna has attack in level 2. So this looks to be almost an unstoppable push. DD, if they had any chance in terms of keeping themselves in the game, they have to force a fight outside of the base. If they just let Fnatic sit on top of the high ground and just chip away at the wards as well as the bear, then DD will just have their initiation squandered. They really need to try to take the issue outside the base and maybe catch Fnatic by surprise. But now teams are just simply too good and they know what to expect. As Force Staff and Dagger allows Fly to initiate, the Shackle just getting a bit too good, but Lasso will clean up what Fly simply could not. Here comes the Saints, because that is just going to do next to nothing, only draining a bit of mana for Fnatic, as they have some high intelligence heroes. Mania trying to do whatever he can, as here comes Rocket Barrage. Trixie might die, but he's going to get sent right back home by N0tail. Once again, Pugna will pick up the kill on Stream Protector, as the Shackle Shot gonna go to work on Era. Looks like Arias trying to do whatever he can, running back and forth, as they will be able to spot the Gyrocopter. Will they look to pursue the issue? No, as now Fnatic, they still do have the wards online, and they're gonna have the mech up relatively soon for the Chen, assuming of course it gets enough mana to actually use it. But Fnatic looks like they're gonna instead turn their attention to Roshan and try to bring that down rather than bulldozing their way down DD's middle lane. Checking out the items, Hani now has the Maelstrom on his bear, as the Hex will go into fucking mad, just poking his head out a little bit too far. Again, wards are the name of the game for every successful engagement, as Fnatic were able to spy out fucking mad on the high ground. Gyrocopter trying to kill off Fly, but looks like OD will get killed off by Pugna once again. The bear just slowing people into oblivion means that Fly isn't going to die to the missile. He will die, but all the while looks like Fnatic are just getting the better of these exchanges. They are just simply more enduring, as now with the Chen in the picture, that might not be the case, but the engagement is going to be won once again by Fnatic, as they're able to clean up the Gyrocopter. They're going to kill off Mania again, and GG is going to be the call by DD, just recognizing when they're being, knowing that's just simply too much to go up against. The brute force lineup of Fnatic were just able to overpower DD's finesse lineup, and DD, well, I don't know if it was Fada having a broken finger, I don't know if it was just them playing with the stand, or if it was just Fnatic finding a good strategy to go with, but they were just able to, they just weren't able to do anything to Fnatic once the 15-minute mark came. So, in the end, I guess Barrow's Blink Dagger didn't really mean too much, so I can't really blame DD too much for just, I guess, ignoring the Barrett for the most part. I'm not really too sure what DD could have done differently. Maybe picked a better support, because Bane, in the end, I really felt like didn't do too much. But I think this was a clear counter OD lineup, and, well, Fnatic were able to make it work beautifully, because OD, again, not known for his early game strength outside the laning phase. Once you put him in a teamfight scenario, OD just sort of crumbles in the early game, because he's just simply too damn squishy. And sure, he's annoying as hell in the lanes, but outside of that, there's just not too much he can do in the early game. And
Dire's
meanwhile,
middle
DD,
tower
well,
has
Bane can't really
fallen.
do too much in the early game.
Dire's ancient
And
is
Tree and
under
Protector,
attack.
all he's good is for living armor. DD just simply had no offense outside of the Gyrocopter, and Gyrocopter can't take on a full 5-man squad by
Dire's
himself.
ancient is
So in the
under
end, I think
attack.
Fnatic just
Fnatic
outdrafted
victory.
DD, as DD, keep in mind the score was 9-9 at one point. But in the end, Fnatic's slam was just simply too powerful. But thanks for watching. So as you might guess, Fnatic won the series 2-0, as they already have a game notched up. And I'll try to livecast some series, so if you want to check out those, check me out at twitch.tv/BeatBall773. And thanks for watching, everybody. Peace.